Was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
Welcome back to the Hishaku Hideout, a weekly podcast where we talk about the latest chapter and everything Kagurabachi. I'm here with Dice.
Yo.
And today we have a special guest with us, Mr. PIKKU. What's up, PIKKU? How you holding up?
Yo. Lovely to be here.
Gotcha.
Happy to have
if
you,
you
man.
want to plug your channel, you could go ahead and do it now.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm PIKKU, also known as PIKKU Program. I'm a Kagurabachi guy. Love the series essentially since its release. I do a lot of analysis, Japanese dissecting, theory crafting, spend way too much time on my videos, classic
The
stuff.
usual. Yeah.
Yeah, the usual.
Gotcha. Now, is there a certain interesting fact about you and Hokazono on Twitter that I don't know about?
Yeah, no, I mean, not everyone
I'm
knows
just
about
playing.
it. It's kind of a...
Yeah.
No, I can talk about it. So, basically, when the Kagurabachi anime news stuff started coming out, I love to report on stuff. A celebrity talks about Kagurabachi, I tweet about it. A news station talks about Kagurabachi, I tweet about it. I kind of gained that
Good
habit.
source for information. That's what I would
Yeah.
say that you are.
Yeah, I gained that habit when I started repping the series early on and people didn't know about it yet, so I just kind of shared information around. And then when the anime news started coming out, I also reported on that. But turns out that the voice actor reveal for Shiba was a slip-up from Crunchyroll, specifically Anime News Network. I posted about it, it went viral, the tweet went into the trending tab, and the next day, I woke up, checked my profile, and Hokazono blocked me.
GG's. Damn,
And
bro.
yeah, I could see. Yeah, I mean, I can't blame you for that one.
It's rough. I mean, okay, in Hokazono's defense, I realized later on that it was a quote-unquote leak, but at the same time, I've never seen people get punished for a corporation slip-up. So
Yeah,
I was
gonna
okay,
say,
it's
yeah.
fine.
It's on them, really.
Yeah, and I'm not actually the only one. There's I don't remember everyone, but there's Embarrassed Bat. They also got blocked for the same thing. Then there's one fan artist. I don't remember their name, but they also made a coloring from the actual image itself, and they also got blocked. So yeah, I'm not the only one.
They striking down everybody.
Yeah, there's a
Damn, I
few
got
of
you.
us. Survivors.
I was just wondering
if you
what
will.
the story with that was, or at least because I didn't really
Yeah,
know the whole part.
it's-
But I was like, "There's ain't
it's
no way this
interesting.
man's tweeting crazy enough like that,
No.
for it to get blocked." But
Well, I mean,
Nah.
you can at least say that, whether it was Hokazono or his team, at least somebody up there recognized, right? Big leagues.
Yeah,
you
my
got
theory.
motion. You can say you got motion.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
exactly.
theory is that it's Imamura, the editor, who runs his account. Very well could be.
Interesting.
Because, he's a mangaka, he's a busy person. He's not going to have time to actually, be on Twitter.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
whenever the illustrations are posted, it's probably the editor posting them,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my cope.
he's already working to the next chapter. He's already moving on.
Yeah.
Hokazono don't have time for that. But no, I mean, gentlemen, just getting into the chapter.
Hell yeah.
Pretty solid chapter, kind of starting where we left off from last chapter. The 4'8" phenom Subaru Ritas, they were holding it down with their size 2 chakra, kicking that. I thought it was pretty, I always love Hokazono's choreography,
Yeah, no, this is crazy. So, I've realized the choreography, you would expect a sword manga to be mostly swords. And yeah, the Masumi have swords, and you see that. But the chapter literally starts off with Subaru kicking his slippers. And that's just you don't get more Kill Bill than that. You really don't.
Yeah, fighting with everything you have, just the nitty gritty. It's really sets the scene.
Yeah.
His whole thing is being, grip, and he's got,
Mhm.
now he's fighting out there with his grippers out, got the feet
Oh,
out,
dude.
fighting.
I literally wrote that joke in my script. That's so funny you say that. Yeah, because his grip literally does work with his feet as well. It's crazy.
Big gripper.
Yeah, I didn't
Nice.
even think of that. I maybe it's just because I'm like itching to really see the sand and bone style, that like I might be looking a bit too much into it, but I think it would be so cool if part of that sword style is really using the environment like at your disposal. Now again, I hadn't really thought about the idea of some sort of advantage of, you know, with him being barefoot. It kind of makes me think, really, is there more to that, like what Tiberius is saying, like legitimately, or is it really just like the defensive, the defensive move of throwing up the chancla, or is it actually part of the sword style? I think it's interesting because Subaru starts off strong this chapter, and then we just completely pivot away into like other stuff. But I think like the chancla, him like protecting the Kiro from the Masumi, I thought that was pretty badass. So he does have like a strong start.
Yeah, and I would immediately think about the fact that, he's doing it with his feet, but footwork is also really important for swordsmanship.
Ooh.
So if he's this good with his feet that he can like throw his slippers with pinpoint accuracy, then I mean his footwork is also going to be insane.
That's a good point.
He is moving crazy. I think like his character is one of those, you know, adding a lot of substance, obviously to the story, and like him being a kind of a vehicle for Kunishige's like motivation to kind of take hold, because like without Subaru, Kunishige isn't getting this done. You know, like he's a pivotal part of like the whole process, obviously with the tataras and like the smelting, and even giving them a place to do it. So like Subaru's character's just been really I've been enjoying a lot. And the fact that we actually get to see him fight, and you know, it's like very it feels very Subaru, you know, like it just fits. Like he talks his shit and he backs it up.
Yeah, I immediately think about because when you're doing a past arc, you can immediately look at the future. And the reason I mention footwork in specific is because one of the first instances that Kagurabachi talked about footwork was with Kuguri. And there are so many parallels between Subaru and Kuguri that are so intentional. And obviously, it leads back to the idea that Kuguri probably has his enchanted blade in the modern timeline. And it's so cool seeing what I call Kugurisms in Subaru's character, because they're totally gonna be like narrative links in more ways than one.
That's a good shot.
Yeah, that's a good shot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Ace, would you so other than that, from leaving where we left off, you know, this was a pretty big chapter, obviously, for Kunishige, but not just Shiba. Kunishige and Shiba. But which like character was like, I guess, like the impactful one for you? This, like, did you kind of like Shiba's, you know, like say risking his life to, you know, give this set the stage for Kunishige, or did you like the kind of story beats with Kunishige more?
See, that's a tough choice. I think for me personally, I think the Kunishige stuff is a lot more interesting, but I do love the fact that Shiba's just straight up putting a lot of the slander to bed. I feel like the slander after this is gonna feel quite forced and, you know, pretty much just based off agenda. I do love what Shiba's doing what she was doing this chapter. We'll definitely get more into it, but in terms of like the narrative beats and like more of Kunishige's character being fleshed out, like I've been saying this in previous episodes and previous streams, that like I've been very curious to see more of Kunishige. Like ever since we got that backstory chapter coming back from hiatus about like, you know, the whole tragedy involving his parents, Hokazono showed us that there's like so much more to Kunishige's character that he could just keep picking on and and just like showing us how, again, like I've said this a lot, like how it brings us to the man we know back in chapter 1, right? A man we haven't really seen a lot of, but every time we get more of his backstory, whether it's, you know, in present, like now with the Seitei War, or like even chapters that take us further back, everything is starting to click so perfect for the tragedy that is Kunishige Rokuhiro's character. So, the Shiba stuff is great, but to me, it doesn't really surpass the narrative aspect of this chapter as it relates to Kunishige. Great stuff, really.
Thanks. PIKKU, how'd you feel? Did you appreciate the Shiba side more or the Kunishige side?
Okay, well, the thing is, it's so hard for me to pick a favorite because I love everyone in Kagurabachi. Like, it's not even a joke. I don't think there's a single character that I hate. But I think from a future perspective, I would probably say Kunishige's development this chapter feels the most indicative, like Dai said, because it's showing the steps of how Kunishige becomes the person we know. But at the same time, we also know that Kunishige, he starts his swordsman smithing journey, whatever you call it, at the age of 12. So the next, I guess, flashback sequence that we see of him is with that new master, whoever picks him up or whoever wants to become his tutor. And we know just from context clues alone that the master is seriously abusive. I forgot what Shiba said. He throws wrenches when he does badly and all this type of crazy stuff. And you're really getting to see piecemeal this sword journey happening both in the past and I guess the current present. And it's just so cool because a lot of this stuff I think you could have gleaned over just from subtle character writing and I guess behavioral patterns, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But it's just, I feel like it's so rewarding to see these things confirmed. I'm obviously super analytical, so some of, if not all of this chapter is basically something I already kind of either wrote about, talked about, or had the general idea in my mind. But it's always such a rewarding feeling to just have it written on a page.
Facts, and executed so well. I feel like Hokazono has done a real good job of, maybe not every part of the puzzle is perfect, but just his execution and telling it, it's still, there's that, if you disagree with maybe the choice in a story, or you just wanted a different conclusion or whatever it may be, you can still appreciate how Hokazono executes, what he, his choice. It's his story, obviously let him cook. But that's my favorite thing about, I think, Hokazono's, I appreciate, I guess, since this flashback is execution. Now that he has slowed things down and given us a flashback within a flashback.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who, I don't want to say they hate it, but they definitely fear the idea of a non-linear story where instead of starting from point A and then going to point B, you have these kind of time jumps. Most people, they want this very concrete, logical narrative structure. And now that we're having, like you say, flashbacks in flashbacks, which is one of the most illogical things that you can do in a story, but obviously something really necessary, it's really putting Hokazono's writing skills, I would say, to the test. And in my opinion, he's passing with the best grade possible so far.
Yeah, flying colors for sure.
Flying colors, yeah.
Flying colors, yeah, that's the
I agree.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to put it.
Because it is relevant. What we've seen in the past, directly bleeds into what we're seeing in the present. And it wasn't just a one chapter thing. It continues to happen. And I have a feeling it will continue to, to be the case until this whole conflict here is resolved.
There's into that, to call to that, there's a moment where Kunishige, he's not taking his eyes off the fire. And it, even with a blade pressed to his neck, his life is literally in the hands of the person that would hold the blade, but he still won't take his eyes off the fire, reminding me of Chihiro not taking his eyes off of Yura, calling back to that. And it's funny when you think about kind of the team dynamic regarding those two moments. Chihiro needed to rely on the people that he had around him in order to be able to continue forward and get a chance to exact his revenge. Now Kunishige just has to trust in the people that he, his people, which, it was Samura for Chihiro, but it's now Subaru for Kunishige. But Shiba is still the common denominator here. He sets this, helps sets the stage for, both father and son. It's like there's something to that. It's really nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the Shiba stuff is also very, very, very strong. This chapter, really.
Yeah, it's very cool seeing him
like,
be the bridge. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was about to say it's just so funny. Also, like seeing that resolve to not take off the fire, his eyes off the fire. It's like that's the kind of resolve it takes to like rile up that crazy old bastard Subaru and seeing what he can do. Like this is we're seeing that payoff. Like he's like that little smirk. He's like, my boy's happy. Locking in.
Yeah, he knows he's the one. That's the look. No, I love the fact that Shiba is kind of like a bridge between the two generations, because we had that whole Samura arc with like, the past is not your burden to bear, you should let it be. But then Shiba is basically intentionally wanting Chihiro to be part of that past, wanting him to take action, to be the leading star, if you will, of the whole malediction of the Seitei War, of whatever. And usually characters like this, I don't want to be too much of a doomer, but they do have a lot of death flags. They do. Because there's just this idea of like sin, bearing the burden, being like a bad influence, all these types of things that they definitely... Obviously, I'm loving Shiba right now, and this is him at his, I guess, prime, if you will, or I guess close to prime. But it does spell a really, really, really dangerous picture for him in the future as well.
Facts.
I do agree. I feel like the more we see and like see from Shiba and learn from Shiba, like the more time we spend with him on panel, he's starting to like get into like that Samura territory where it's just tragedy written all over him and like clearly a person that just has been unable to outrun their past. I love that, really. Yeah,
because like I think about like I said Jiraiya, but like that ass, there's a lot of connections with obviously he's not pervy. That's one good thing about Shiba, I'll say. But like just that, like like the what we're getting now in writing from Shiba, I feel like this doesn't complete his character arc, obviously, but it just makes me feel like, man, the next time we get like a really deep moment for Shiba, that's gonna be like the last like one. You know what I mean? It makes me feel like that's like now we're getting it now when we cut back to. Then you're gonna start being on pins and needles, just waiting for it.
We're learning about his life, so we can set the final stage for him in the present.
Yura was so funny with Yura's eyes, just like they look like the Renegon. It's like, and there's like a lot of like the whole Chiaki, Yura thing going on, like that theory. It's so funny, and also when they like. A lot of Akatsuki parallels, like when they teleported into the Kabanabi HQ, it's like the same pose that the 6 Paths of Pain were in.
Yeah, it is kind of similar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just funny to think about. We're talking about Shiba like as this like, this bridge, this character that connects the two generations and, kind of like fills in the holes for the main character. It's like me. I just hear the Naruto sad music playing.
It's a future I don't even want to think about right now because it's just so sad. It's coming. You just have to prepare for it. And I think the final matchup is basically being foreshadowed as well with the Pine Tree Hishaku. It's just there's gonna be one chapter in this whole flashback arc that really just introduces that plot point, that idea, that setup.
Oh yeah, and then it also like harkens back to when Hishaku like teleported after the Sojo.
Exactly.
And it's like Shiba looks back. It's like that framing is like that's it right there.
That's
the moment. Like it was sealed from that moment.
Oh yeah, I remember when the final chapter of the Hiroshima conflict came out when Aryu is dragging Shiba's corpse. there's like a pine tree in the background as well. Like it's such like an emblem of doom. It's so
like the death.
haunting.
It's basically the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
Basically.
Hayuki's family portrait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, true.
There's a tree
Oh,
in there. It's
God.
like, Hokazono, what are you doing?
What
He's
does it
setting
mean?
up something criminal.
Yeah, like I
Yeah, no, 'cause
can't walk in public in real life without worrying about a damn pine. I see a tree, start freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because that's the thing. Like, we're learning a lot about like the good guys, and obviously now we have the Masumi, which is like, I guess, neutral evil, if you will. But there's gonna come those chapters where you just kind of get the Hishaku, or you just kind of get someone that looks a little too familiar, and maybe their identity isn't revealed, you know, to build up suspension or whatever. But you just know that something about that hair, or something about those eyes, or wait, but isn't that the same sorcery as that guy?
Yeah.
And it's just gonna be that little bit of a
Is
sprinkling,
he
I guess,
force feeding a
foreshadowing.
child a seed? What is that guy doing? Some shit like
Wait,
that.
why is he showing this fetus unable to pee? What is happening?
Oh man, no, but what I really like about the Shiba stuff as well is how it directly like ties back into the Kunishige stuff, really, and like Kunishige's whole struggle about like, you know, even that same day that Shiba pulled up to protect Chiaki and protect them, it was like Kunishige says, it's the day he like decided that he was gonna start making katanas, right? So like the way that Shiba ties into like not just being the bridge like you said, PIKKU, but like to Kunishige's specific like motivations and ideals. Like Shiba's the one that has always been there, and whereas like Kunishige, he wasn't able to do like so much. Like he couldn't protect his mom, you know, he like the only thing he has from his dad are like his eyes, and the one thing that he picked up from him like directly led to Chiaki getting hurt. So we know how it plays into like his ideas about like good katana. It just feels like
Learn to
Kunishige.
fight.
Yeah, I guess he could have learned to fight as well, right?
Hey, bro. I mean, there's that.
Because he's just been so helpless, I guess is really what I'm trying to say. It feels like he's
Yeah.
been so helpless for so long, and he's only been able to do what he knew how to do, which was just forge katana. It's the one thing he knew how to do. And the one thing, like, we see it reflected, like, as the Masumi's blade is going right through his neck, like, he just eyes on the fire. He's just doing the one thing he knows how to do. It's how he plans to save Chiaki. It's how he plans to fight back. You know, it's the only thing he can do. And I just think it's the way it's portrayed this chapter with Shiba once again pulling up as Kunishige this time doing what he has to do. Like, he's not just helpless like he was when they were kids, but this time he's actually doing his part as Shiba does his. I think it all just like it interweaves so well. So well.
It makes you wonder, like, so, you know, they all have a story, like those, you know, when Kunishige was talking about these childhood friends. It's like, what exactly happened with Shiba? Like, it almost makes me wonder if there's gonna be another flashback in a flashback, but of like Shiba, of like exactly what happened with him in a sense of like, what would like I guess, you know, past experiences be of someone that's like so dead set on like you know, being like the obstacle for Kunishige's like opposition, really, you know, like risking his life. And like, you know, we know what Mashiro, you know, and Shiba meant to each other. There's like, you know, that very strong short, you know, small moments of very strong character writing there, but like they a big impact on Shiba's character for me. Like, that was really the thing that I needed, I feel like, to like, I guess, just sign the Shiba apology for him. So I'm looking to see how what's that moment to create that type of person to care so much about like risking his life to, you know, set the stage for him to be the star.
Yeah, so here's the interesting part. It's not confirmed yet, and I could be wrong, obviously, but in the chapter where they reveal the locations, I guess, of all the sorcery families, there's one in Kansai, specifically the Osaka region, where it's, I'd just say, theorized, if not almost confirmed, that Shiba is from. Because it's his whole, like, he has this, like, weird accent that he speaks with.
Yeah.
So it's very likely that the Shiba clan is actually a sorcery clan. And if that's the case, then how does that play into his, I guess, need to be useful? Similar to like Hakuri, he always needs to be useful. He always wants to do something for someone. I call him the ultimate wingman because he's done so many things, obviously.
No
but
main
there's
character
definitely
energy, not a lick of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
there's definitely some story behind that. 100%.
interesting. That would be cool to see for sure. And because like we also know like Azami, you know, with his dad.
Yeah,
and
because he's the sorcerer clan member. Yeah, exactly. It only
like,
makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be real interesting. I would like that take too. You know, that sounds cool. You know, because I think that's like, I guess I'm wondering, you know, now I think this arc is kind of, you know, at least I can say for myself, right? That it's made me really not be able to like realize just how unpredictable Hokazono is, like how deep he can go on certain things that you may thought were maybe almost unnecessary, but you didn't know how much you actually did need that, or whatever it may be. You know, that's what Hokazono is like. He keeps you guessing, so you just don't know who he's gonna go, you know, deeper on, or you know, or who he's like just intended for them to just not have a big role, you know, but they hold an important seat in the story or something. You just never know.
Yeah, I think one of the best qualities of a writer is them knowing better than you do what you want in a story. Because obviously you're a customer, you don't know what you want unless you have like a very specific idea. If you're looking for a shonen, you're obviously gonna go for a shonen manga. But beyond that, there were so many people who said, we don't need a Seitei War arc. We have enough pieces to piece together the whole story. And I even made a video about it. It's one of my best performing videos because it was just such a rancid take that I could not wrap my head around. What do you mean we don't need the backstory of the main character's dad who creates the weapons that then win them the war which the society they now live in is based off of? How does that make any sense? Well, it doesn't. And that's why we got the Seitei War arc. And it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I mean, there's always going to be a specific group of people that will, and I say this all the time, like there's always going to be like a loud minority. But I think you really, I couldn't agree more with what you just said about like a great author will know what you want, you know, over what you think you want, because that is a good point. Like I do think that a lot of you know, a lot of fan bases or people in fandoms really think that they know what they want, but you'll see them like really talk down on anything really. And I think that that is very, very accurate, because even now we're seeing that, like Tiberius said, like Hokazono's taking like a good amount of time just properly alluding to and fleshing out things that both we did know, things like, for example, Flamebone, that we knew like very little, but we knew that it was a thing in this world. We've now seen that expanded upon with the, you know, the added context that is these other sorcery clans. We're finding out so much about like the enchanted blade forging process, things like the Mikaboshi, which just completely shifted like how we saw this entire conflict. So you know, with a guy like Hokazono, who's clearly like done his due diligence in not just setting up this war arc, but also making sure that there is so much substance, not just like in the grand scale of thing, like not just in this wider scope, but also like as it relates to, again, like characters, whether it's Shiba, Chiaki, Akamura, Kunishige, and we're like a bit over 15 chapters in, and he's just, I don't think he's really missed in the way he's continued to expand subtly on Shiba's characters, and then just fully diving into guys like Kunishige and, like I said, Akamura, Chiaki. It makes me so excited with like what's gonna happen with the Sword Bearers, because even if we don't get that sort of insight, that sort of like development, I do think that he's, and I've said this before, that he's already set, like he knows exactly how he's gonna hit on these beats, you know, on these narrative beats. And so I've said before, I think this arc is going to be the longest one yet by a good margin, really. But I think everything we get this arc is just going to be so key to how we continue to interpret the rest of the story. And even a chapter like this one, we see how the event with Mashiro plays into Shiba's resolve. Like, he's keeping everything so tight and relevant. Everything just has a purpose this arc.
Yeah.
And he's continued to just hammer that home.
Facts.
Yeah.
Dude, I say, my bad. I'll just add this real quick that I was a person that didn't think Kunishige's wife and or Chihiro's mom wasn't even going to be like a big thing. I was not saying that I didn't want to see it, but I was just skeptical if it would even be touched upon or go deep.
Yeah,
now
I hear you,
Chiaki's in my top 5 favorite characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And that's
like
a testament.
objectively the
Great.
most important character of the entire series,
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah,
It's
and
incredible.
he's like delivering.
Facts.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is about the pacing and the length of the arc, especially with the smithing sequence, you're really, really, really starting to see just how in detail he wants to go. Because we've had so much like exposition and explanation of like different mechanics, techniques, the logistics of sword making, which is, by the way, how the series started. It literally explains the process of tanren, the most important part of making a katana. So it's not like a surprise that he's willing to spend so much time explaining all of this nuance and this like process. But then you look at the actual time that passes in between chapters, and it's literal seconds. What is months to us is barely a day in the actual universe itself, which really shows you that even in this chapter, like 7 seconds pass from the first page to the final one. So it really is taking its time. It's doing everything in its power to not leave a single important plot thread or character development moment unnoticed. It's so powerful.
Yeah, and there's no fat that needs to be trimmed off. It's
Agreed.
it's very punchy. It's very like he's hitting on like the Mashiro thing, like Dice mentioned. It's one of those. It's a very small panel in the grand scheme of a whole chapter. Even it's a small panel for that page, but that moment just nails home like it's like your past experiences and the people along the way. It's like Chihiro's kind of his journey's about the people he's meet and their past experiences and how they relate to his, and like
Facts.
so on so many levels, what I mean. And it's like also how Shiba is, we talked about this bridge, but he's just such an important he has such an important role of connecting this arc compared to like what we have in the present time and what that will mean going forward. Because like we still have to see payoffs of these things that have just started there, that we saw like get kicked up, and the tension level rose through part 1, and like so when we cut back to, there's still more story to be told, and like be confident, get the honey out. PIKKU, get the honey.
Yeah, get the
Yeah, good thing I have some in my kitchen. It's never going out. I need to buy like 10 more gallons.
A 10-gallon jug of
Yeah,
honey
exactly.
sitting by my desk.
Yeah, we don't run out of honey here.
That's good. No, I love, one of my favorite things about manga in general is like illustrations for one, but these, I can only call them microcosms that really just boil down a character to a single panel. And the Kunishige one with blisters in his hands, it tells you so much in so little, because those are the hands that made everything. That's the one panel that you can just like feel to your very like soul. And the same one is for the Chiaki one, where she's talking about how you can't see the scar, that it's all healed up. But the point isn't in the physical wounds, like the stabbing wounds or the bleeding. It's the mental trauma, the mental effect of it all. It's so evocative and I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, you talk about the hand, that panel's so good it almost makes me not think about Denji's hand panel.
Yeah.
No,
there's
stop
there's
it.
I'll be honest, when I
Completely
first saw it, I thought about Shinji from Evangelion,
Shinji,
which
right?
is even
Oh,
worse.
no.
Hey, all roads lead to Evangelion.
Oh my
Isn't it?
God.
That's a good one. Oh my
It's
god,
like
that
one-to-one
boy,
framing
hand
as
panels.
well.
Am I
It's so
right? It's like that whole nutshell.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. I hate
but
that
you
I
know,
see it.
Yeah, it's
Um,
horrible.
One thing I also like is when the Bob, the Masumi with the Bob, one is like saying that they're on a different level. Even Subaru's like remarking that, like, oh, that's the one,
That's
and
the captain, the leader.
yeah. And I thought it was so funny that, they're just saying that, is this all like worth risking your life over? I forgot the exact words, but the saying that like almost like their facial expression showing that they can't even
Fathom,
like, is
right?
it really
Like,
worth? It's funny
yeah.
a ninja thinking that too, by the way. It's
like kind of
this is what your
disgusted
life
as
is.
well.
Yeah, it's
Like, you scum.
it's like just
Really?
to like stare at fire, but like for Kunishige, there's so much more, and everything that we've gotten leading up to this point just like kind of informs us. Like, this is all those things, the story being told before us. This is why this man is just devoting everything, and his absolute, his conviction is like top tier to stare at fire because of what it means. Like,
Yeah, I'll paraphrase my script here because the Masumi one is definitely interesting. I remember Ro said in his flashback with Samura that the Masumi are quote unquote ninja with no personal feelings or something like that.
exactly.
It's very interesting you say that because yeah, this is the last generation or the previous generation, and there's going to be some subtle differences here and there with like mindset
Yeah.
and whatever. But for someone to have no personal feelings, yet they're still reacting in shock to Kunishige's, I guess, devotion, which is by definition a personal feeling. So they're kind of masking something here that's really interesting. Are they really that emotionless as they, I guess, lead on?
Yeah, that's a great point, because I would even say that in this scenario, those personal feelings got in the way of her or, them actually completing the job.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
were, talking all that shit when all they had to do was just cut off his head. But she's slowly, pushing, we don't know exactly what's the speed here, but we're led to believe like, they could have cut off his head if they just did it, and wasn't talking all that shit. But no,
They gotta let
just
that
enough
man-
time for Shiba.
Yeah, I was say they gotta let that man know how trash he is. Like, they gotta keep telling that man that. They're like, by the way,
Exactly.
they told me about you, and yeah, you trash.
Yeah.
Like, they mess
Yeah,
up
and I
my
also
man.
see that similar kind of, I guess, mindset when he's talking to Shiba and he's saying, "You're gonna die." Like, why do
Yeah.
you care? If you're
Exactly.
an emotionless tool, why do you care that someone's gonna die because of your injuries? Well, because you're human, because you have emotions.
Yeah.
So they're really, I feel like they're just kind of, I don't want to say projecting, but they're definitely hiding their true nature for one reason or another. And I think that's going to be a relevant plot point. I mean, it already is with like the present Masumi, but I feel like it's definitely going to be a plot point with these people as well.
Yeah, it just goes to show that like it doesn't matter if they're basically like lapdogs for the government. There's always a bit of humanity that just kind of
Yeah.
peeks through the cracks, And I think that's what we're
Exactly.
seeing here.
I think you were about to sip the tip of Shiba a second ago.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I think you were about to glaze that man, because I think I interrupted you when you were about to say when he was about to lock in.
No, I mean, if I did, I must have lost my train of thought. But like I already said, like Shiba, I think Shiba deserves a lot of glaze, And I
He
know
does. I was
your
gonna
whole
sip
thing.
the tip if you did.
No, I think sipping of the tip is deserved in this scenario because
It's so
Yeah,
funny.
I-
He just normalized this. He just normalized it now.
I do think it was unlikely. I did entertain in one of our previous streams the possibility, because we talked about like who's gonna interrupt this, this altercation here. Whether it was gonna be like Azami or how exactly this here was gonna be resolved. And I did entertain the slightest possibility though I did think it was very, very slight that it would be Shiba, who, whether it was because Azami healed him and then just dipped, Shiba was going to be the one to actually come back. And that's what happened. It's very surprising. But again, when you get the stuff like the Mashiro tidbits where he says, Shiba says, I saw a guy crush a ship into a ball even with a hole in his stomach, it just kind of goes to show the resolve here. And again, Kunishige, Shiba, like their resolve is unmatched here. And I do love like that, you know, what Shiba tells Kunishige at the end, kind of going back to what I was talking about, how Shiba straight up tells Kunishige, this time you take the glory. And I know a lot of people are gonna look at that and might misconstrue like this whole idea about Kunishige making it about himself. But this is a guy that's, you know, whichever way you slice it, there are personal motivations involved here, and Shiba knows exactly what those motivations are. And so I do like that we get this this moment between the two.
Yeah, I want to, real quick, the thing that, like, you know, it's crazy because with Mashiro's moment, right? He could push himself so much because he had faith in Shiba, right? So obviously, you know, he even like says that in the fight. And so you can imagine like just the guilt, you know, obviously we know is, you know, because this hasn't been long. Hiroshima happened on the 20th. And what is this, on like the 28th or whatever?
Yeah, it's been like a week.
Yeah, since all that happened. Like, can you imagine like processing the grief and the guilt, or like man's still drowning in it. So it's like, and then like the wounds from Hiroshima get reopened. Like, isn't that just like very telling of like what he's going through and what he's putting on, how much he's putting on the line, you know, his life to just like set the stage for someone else. Like, I feel like, man, it's just, those wounds really did open, you know?
Yeah. And the one thing I'll say, like, you know, here is that it's clearly like physically and figuratively as well, because you bring up a great point in how, you know, Mashiro did what he did because he had faith in Shiba. Shiba's doing what he's doing because he has faith in Kunishige. You know, so it all just makes perfect sense, and it all calls back to, you know, to each other basically.
Yeah, it's like, is he stupid? He's the teleporter, though. It's easier for other people to rely on him to teleport them. Bro, if you burn yourself out, who's going to teleport the teleporter? It's like, who's going to be the therapist friend for the therapist friend? But
yeah, man.
All good stuff. I mean, I think like it's a very like, you know, as I say, punchy. You know, it's just very like, it's hitting all the right points. You know, Subaru, like we do get some acknowledgement towards like his you know, doppelgangers. They aren't really good at combat. You know, we talked about him like having 6 sword masters on the field basically to fight at one time. Just seems crazy.
Yeah, I really like that. It's a good confirmation because it's definitely, I mean, it's one for power scaling, yeah, but it also like really makes his sorcery less broken than it seems.
Oh, and also super important that he traded it in, even though he still loves sushi. So he will no longer, while he's contracted, be able to use his, you know, around the restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, he's still got that contract present time. So seeing him now without being able to use it, I wonder, he's like, nah, man, I'll pay arm and leg, you know, for wages.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. He chose the war over sushi because obviously his sorcery is meant for the former more than the latter. Or sorry,
and
the
this
other
is
way
someone
around.
that, and it's the resolve he's seeing in this chapter is what is going to be the, you know, the deciding factor to make that choice, in my opinion. It's like seeing what he's put on the line. It's like, this is someone that, like, you know, I'll do that for.
Bingo. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, for sure. For him to trade in like the one thing that like allows him to fulfill his life purpose, ideally, you know?
Or at least as he knew it, you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
so
for sure.
He does have to conceptualize what the future will be like without, you know, that.
Yeah. Sacrifices in war, man.
Real.
What can you say, you know?
Yeah, I think it's so important to know and I guess realize with every single chapter is that while these are quote-unquote hero moments in every sense of the metric, they're also sacrifices. They're really self-sacrificial in nature, and it's not something Hokazono has ever endorsed or made like a great deal out of. Like, the only reason these things are happening is simply because there is no other choice. There is no alternative. The Mikaboshi are coming. There's no avoiding that. So you do the only thing that you can, which is fight back.
Yeah, and the way that you know how, which is how Kunishige talks about this chapter of like, you know, that's all that he knew. You know, that's what he
Exactly.
relied on. See, that's a good chapter, man. See, it's like this isn't one of those chapters that people would like are gonna rave about when it's all said and done, but it's one of those chapters that people will when they start sorting through like the more the membrane of Kagurabachi. It's one of these, you know, chapters like this that's going to be in there, you know, the nucleus.
I think this whole sequence, I mean, I think I said it like way long ago, is that when people visit the Seitei War, they're probably going to think about the Irishima conflict as one of the, like, I guess, nostalgia points, if you will. But I think this sequence is where things, like, really kick off. And I don't mean that in the way that the Irishima conflict is, like, some, like, appetizer. But it's more like because this whole smelting sequence is so crucial to the thematics that would then follow, it is basically the cornerstone. Like you say, the nucleus, the core.
Yeah,
and
especially Kunishige's character. Hiroshima is more of like a grand scheme, kind of like overall time, of the timeline. Whereas this is a character specific, you know, that's the initiator of like our present time conflict.
I still think we have something like, I don't know, 7, 8 or 9 chapters left to this whole sequence, because there are just so many moving parts. But I think what's going to be really interesting is, because we know that he's going to gather 6 enchanted blade wielders, and we know they're going to become quote-unquote heroes, which means by design they're going to gain a kind of immunity from the government. So while we're now looking at Kunishige being kind of like an outlier, this kind of vigilante, if you will, he's soon going to gain access to governmental resources with that whole, you know, I'm your best bet panel sequence. And after that, this kind of Mortal Kombat.
Codes. I'm your best bet.
Exactly. After that, this kind of Mortal Kombat where Kunishige almost lost his life because the government didn't believe in him is going to feel almost kind of stupid, because now they're on his side. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people are going to be on his side. And it's going to feel like, why did we even literally risk our lives when you could have just trusted us? Obviously, the thought process behind it is really logical. But in like retrospect, it's going to be so interesting.
Yeah, especially because the way they talk about here, the what is it, the chin, you know, the guy with like the chin beard or whatever from the Sorcery Bureau, he's talking about in this chapter, he's talking about Kunishige, and like the way he talks about him is, it just basically how he's basically the problem. And I love that it's basically like realizing that he's not gonna stop because his motivations are so personal. And you know, we cut to the Bob Masumi saying he's the real spark that must be put out. And I love that so much, because he becomes basically, whether, like you said, PIKKU, whether the people, you know, there's people that side with him and there's people that don't side with him, but at the end of the day, they're all relying on him. They're the one, like, he's the one they end up relying on. So the idea that they were gonna put him down because he was fueled by very personal motivations, and at the end of the day, those are the personal motivations that ends up saving all of their asses, I think is so peak. I just really like that.
Yeah, there's a definite narrative irony to the whole idea that they're going to have to rely on someone that they first hated, because I feel like it's also going to fuel a lot of the future actions as well. Like, obviously, Izaru in the present hates Kunishige, hates Chihiro, hates the whole idea of what happened that we don't yet know of. But I think a lot of Kunishige's personal, I don't want to say traumatic events, but problematic decisions are going to tick off a lot of those people who already had something against him. It's kind of building this reason to become a hater, if you will.
Oh yeah, Izaru was doing the Arthur like fist shake thing until it was no Akamaru cut them off. But
yeah, this is this is also why I think that the like what the Masumi says to him and like her being or them being so flabbergasted by Kunishige's resolve. I think that's why that works so well, because they couldn't fathom that sort of just that sort of resolve because of a personal motivation. It's not really ideological, it's all heart, it's all experience, it's all lived in trauma that's directly feeding the motivation and resolve at the present. And the fact that the Masumi just can't comprehend that, but there's enough there for them to hesitate, right? Because they're clearly witnessing it. Oh man, I'm so here for that. I think it's so subtle, but Hokazono like works in these subtleties so well.
Yeah, it plays to that subtle. Like, who are you to tell someone what a dream is? Who are you to tell someone, like it's like kind of like what Denji says, a dream battle, like back in Chainsaw Man season season one, excuse me. I'm talking about fucking Kagurabachi terms. But like that motivation, like we all, our conversation here has been really, speaking to just how important like the moments building up to this chapter and exactly like what this chapter means for all like the characters in play in this, chapter. It's like, man, it's like just hats off to fucking Hokazono. Dude's cooking.
Also, I just wanted to say shout out to Subaru for not letting his blind eye get in the way of combat. Because we've already seen a certain someone in blind combat.
Yeah, he faked himself. He faked himself to be blind too. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Subaru was like, "You son of a bitch! I'm halfway, pissed off."
Yeah, no, like I said, I love what Subaru does early this chapter. I think it's a shame that we don't see more of, but I'll trade it in like any day of the week for the stuff that we do get later in this chapter. I do think this chapter is what I would call like a sleeper chapter. It's kind of like the type of chapter, I think you alluded to this, Tiberius, you might gloss over it, and in terms of like in the grand scheme of things, it might be the sort of chapter that surface level you might gloss over with, but when you really deep it, and especially when you realize that this is part 3 of the smelting process and just how much is going on, it's so key. Like everything we see here is so integral to the characters themselves, where like by the time it's all said and done and we zoom out, this chapter is just intrinsic to like getting to understand Shiba's character and Kunishige's character especially. And again, it plants the seed for what we can expect from Subaru moving forward in terms of his resolve and how far he's willing to go for somebody else. So yeah, I think this chapter might be a bit underappreciated. I haven't seen the talk on Twitter or on the internet, so I might be wrong, but it feels like the kind of chapter people.
And like we also, this is very telling for Joji, because he was he's basically just a background character. And that boy was had like he has his like little moments in the first page and all that, but then it's just like Subaru's just saying, yo, go handle that one, and we see none of it. Like,
how about
obviously
you be
there's
useful?
only so many pages,
True.
And obviously there's 15 pages. The other 4 I think went to like volume promotion again.
Yeah, there's this weird thing the past 2 chapters where like 4 pages have been spent with like volume 12 promotion. I don't really know.
That was never the case before,
Yeah, that's never happened before. It was very weird.
So it's like telling is like, man, if this is like what we would call Hokazono load managing, I'm all for it.
Load management,
exactly.
Hokazono. That's funny.
This is him taking things easy.
Yeah, load management, Hokazono is still a beast. Just more concise, moments. Because like I feel like if those other 4 pages were here, I wonder where those 4 pages would go to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, he's still dropping 30 3/4.
Yeah, he's still having a hell of a game.
He really is the LeBron of manga.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's a good one. But like I think that'll basically do it for us. I mean, I'll let y'all go around and y'all have any closing thoughts.
I'm just more Sorry,
Go ahead,
I'm
Piku.
just
Go ahead.
excited for more Subaru. I've always loved him. I think it was because he was introduced in chapter 18. He was like one of the first characters that I put all my faith into. And getting to see him chapter by chapter, panel by panel, is just a blessing.
Yeah,
Real.
agreed. I want to see more Subaru. I need to see like that Sand and Bone style, like up close.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
I need to get that. Like I need to really see, like just like how we've gotten with like previous sword styles, where like we really get to get all these different angles and understand how they work. You know, kind of like Hirohiko with his freedom style, Kiri with her. You know, I really want to see that Sand and Bone in action. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Joji. I think that Joji is a character that Hokazono has something in store for him. I'm leaning towards like some sort of sacrifice play similar to the way Mashiro was used. But yeah, I'm open to whatever Hokazono's cooking up, but I definitely think he has something in store for his character, and I think it's going to be important. I don't think it's just going to be like background stuff. I do think Joji has a big role to play.
I got
Maybe
no
I'm
stocks in Bird Person. I got no stocks in him.
I'm not mad at that, man. I like I said, I don't even recognize myself saying that, but I just have that feeling.
He technically is an impressive swordsman, like, you know, to some degree in the verse. Like, he is plenty, you know, capable. So, you know, but I'm wondering if he's maybe one of those people that we actually do see in the present time. Like, he's someone I could see that is a character that we meet in you know, later on, or Chihiro meets later on. You know, that he kind of flies under the radar at a certain point. Like, oh yeah, he fought in the war, but nothing hurt. You know, we don't get no like conclusion. And then 100 chapters from now, he pops back up.
This is gonna look so funny next week when he dies. Sorry, next chapter.
Oh, I know.
Next week.
Facts. So facts.
It'd be like that here on the Hishaku Hideout, Piku. We're used to it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, man, I think she was gonna die in this flashback, y'all. And then he just don't. Nah, but
that's all from me, really. You, Piku? Wait, you said what you had to say, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just a Subaru fanatic all the way.
real, true and real.
Cool.
Well, that'll do it for us. I'm good. It was a good episode. Break next week. But we will have our midweek stream still with Commodore Laz, so check that out. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out PIKKU, great guest.
Thank you.
Yeah, make sure to check his channel out. Don't check Dice's channel out. He don't post.
Not yet.
Okay, he's cooking up a Euro video. I mean, he's been cooking up this Euro video. It's been a minute, but it might be overdone, overcooked, dry.
Never. Soon.
Nah, I'm playing. It's gonna be fire. But appreciate everyone. Y'all have a good week. Peace.
Peace.
Later.